Land Rover update. This smile is a smile in relation to my Land Rover Discovery 4 that is on the drive. Now, for those of you who are following the story, and I'm loving, I keep getting emails going, what's the update? What's the update? It's like I don't have one anymore, but I do now. I do. So off the back of the other update, I can tell you that Tom from Angel Tuning did come all the way from near Banbury, where he lives, to near Peterborough, where I live. He brought Laura, his partner, and their little human. They drove on a Saturday in their own personal time out of the goodness of their hearts so that Tom could have a look at my car, because he said, I'm sure I can find out what this is. And even if I can just sort of tell you what it is so that when you get it into Avenger 4x4, we'll know where we're going. So Tom came and it was raining. It was horrible. And yet he stood with the bonnet up, having a look, all these mechanical things on it. And this is the result of Tom coming to see my car. That is the sound of my car's engine starting. So that you all know, and you're all going to go, oh my gosh, give us the actual technical terms. I can't give you the technical terms. It was raining. Everyone was in a bit of a hurry at the end, but it was what you said. It was the earth wire. So it does need fixing. So now we are able to drive it to Avenger. So we don't have to pay for the tow truck to come and get it. We can drive it to Avenger where they can put it on their rollers, which, because they're good, it won't fall off their rollers like the one at Marhshalls did. And we can get it fixed. So it's an easy, quick fix, and we are thrilled. I could not be more grateful to Tom and his family for spending the time, effort, energy, and just having the compassion to come and do it. And again, what does that highlight? That highlights that these massive dealerships couldn't give two hoots. I'd asked the man from Marhshalls when I spoke to him at the weekend. He said, what can I do for you? And we'd sort of like ruled out the fact that he can't make the case go away or deal with it. He will need somebody above him to do that. But I did say, well, you know, on a practical level, you could lend me something to tow. He could have gone back to Alley Cat Rentals and rented the Hilux, because that would have had a new clutch put in it. By the way, Hiluxes, so I've seen 3 now, just gone past. I'm all over it. But they could have, Land Rover could have done that, but they didn't even want to do that. Client Care haven't called me back. The Ombudsman are doing everything that they can, but that's it's going to take time. It is a complicated case. But Tom got in the car, he drove down and he fixed it. Now, I think personally, in fact, I don't think, I know, I will never, ever go to a dealership again. Ever. I will only ever go to a local independent garage, and I will stick with one, and I will stay with them for the entire longevity and lifespan of my next car, whether that be the Hilux or whether that be the Land Cruiser. Who knows? One of those, I hope. If the Hilux I want, because I want to be able to make one of those adverts on the channel, just the funniest thing ever. But I will never, ever, ever go to a dealership again. Ever. I will never have a Land Rover. I will never go to a dealership, because if nothing else, again, delving into this and seeing that Constellation own Marhshalls and Constellation own We Buy Any Car and Car Wow, and I think they own Cinch as well. So Constellation basically control the entire used car market. So Marhshalls, who sells used cars, will get, and it's not just Marhshalls, all of them will get their prices of what they're going to sell their cars for from Constellation, whether it be through Cap Clean, Car Wow, blah, blah, blah. So we're all being controlled by them in some way, shape or form. And then when we're buying these brand cars, we are the ones with the expensive parts. We are actually going to spend more in parts than we will in the actual car. And I've talked about this before. I think it's a conspiracy. I do. I think that these parts are made so expensive because they keep repeatedly failing. And of course, it's going to make the brand money by having to keep putting these parts back in. Now, that's only my thoughts. It might not be true, but that's how I feel. That's what I'm getting. And nobody is turning around from the big brands and saying, no, that's not what's happening. Go for it. Tell me that's not what's happening. Convince me that's not what's happening. Convince me that there's not thousands of cars with steering rack failures and thousands of cars with DPF issues. I mean, look at that. There's a big court case going on with the DPF particulates. It doesn't strike me as though we're building cars anymore for the consumer. It strikes me as though we're building cars for the industry to make more money, and it's this whole globalisation thing. But then we go down a rabbit hole of politics, which we don't want to do, because I've just had to have a massive rant about Bridget Phillips, and that's on another video if you want to see it. She has really... So anyway, there you go. But Tom Tom from Angel Tuning drove all the way to just outside of Peterborough and got my car up and running so that I can now take it to Avenger 4x4 and they can do the actual bit that needs doing, which is a cheap fix, and I'll have the car back on the road again. And then we can look about sorting out the Toyota Hilux. This is one of the dogs, by the way. She's very upset when she's hurt one of her, God, her breath stinks. She's hurt one of her legs, so she can't go out very much at the minute, and she's so miserable. It'll be all right, not long. Anyway, that's the end of the rant. I've completely digressed. All the dogs are wagging their tails. We might go for a sojourn down the drive, and back again. But I thought you might like to know that. Thank you to Tom and Laura. Safe journey home. And yeah, there are good people in the world. And 2 of them and their little person visited us today. And we are very, very grateful. There's the dog wagging.